Dear children, welcome to the next resource of natural vegetation and wildlife from chapter 2. Till now we have completed all the natural resources such as land, soil, water. Likewise, now this will be the last natural resources. As if you will all remember that there are various types of resources in which we have natural resources, we have man-made resources and we have the human resource. Now among that group, the natural resources, this will be the last resource to be discussed in this chapter. So natural vegetation and wildlife. Of course the word start itself with the natural vegetation. Natural vegetation, that means the plant covering, and in those plant coverings and all, whatever wildlife it is accommodating, that is the wildlife. Now both vegetation and wildlife, when they grow naturally without any human interference and just in accommodation or in the combination with a kind of soil, kind of plants, kind of climate, in that natural surrounding, whatever kind of plants and animals they survive, they thrive in that region, they all are called as the natural vegetation. Now natural vegetation, let us study its origin, let us see that what it is a part of what and all. So basically let us start with its origin. You all have studied, if you remember, the domains of the earth, 4 domains of the earth. It means your complete earth is having these 4 domains which are active and they all are interdependent also. Like lithosphere which we have, that means the solid earth's crust, the hard layer, the soil, the land on which we all are moving. We have the next, that is atmosphere, which is fully made up of gaseous layer on the gases. We have the third hydrosphere, that means the complete water, whether it is the ocean, rivers, icebergs and everything, and even the water vapor. So all these are included in the hydrosphere. Now there is one more sphere, it means one more element which is present on the earth's surface, and that is the biosphere. Now bio, the word you have heard many a times, like biotic, abiotic. So in that biotic, that means the living organisms. So biosphere denotes the living things on the earth's surface. They are mainly the plants and the animals. We also call them as the flora, the plant community, and the fauna, that means the animal community. Now if you will see, if I combine all these, do you think they all are interdependent on each other? Yes, I'll surely get the answer yes. Like how? Lithosphere, let us take the example. Lithosphere if I take from deserts, Rajasthan, and the lithosphere if I take from Andaman and Nicobar, or maybe Konkan side and all, maybe northeastern Meghalaya side, the lithosphere is different. The soil varies over there. Why? Because the climate is different, rainfall is different, dryness is there, high temperatures are there, somewhere very heavy rainfall is there. If I go with vegetation in connection with this, then yes, deserts are very dry and they don't have much vegetation. Whereas the Andaman and Nicobar, the coastal plains and all, they have dense vegetation. What about hydrosphere? Yes, there is shortage of water in the deserts and all, whereas ample amount of water in the other places. So it means that these 4 are interdependent, plus they are interrelated. They are dependent on each other also, and they are related to each other. Now if I relate all these things or all these spheres, we find that on the earth's surface they are not same everywhere. Like if I go, like here we have lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere and the biosphere. Biosphere, sphere of life, which is done. Together these things are forming an ecosystem, like the thing which I was discussing with you. Like these 4 domains, they are interdependent and interrelated with each other. So here there is a word which you will be learning, or which you have earlier also heard. An ecosystem is a community of living organisms in conjunction with the non-living components of the environment. Now non-living components of the environment are which one? Land, you have soil, you have then minerals, then you are also having the atmosphere, you have the water. So living and non-living things together, what they are giving, they interact as a system. Even if any part of these four domains is disturbed, the effect can be immediately seen on another. Like if you don't get the rain for longer period of time, it will start affecting the hydrosphere, it will start affecting the lithosphere, it will start affecting even the biosphere. So they are all interdependent and interrelated. So these biotic and abiotic components are linked together, and they are through the nutrient cycle and energy flows. That means they actually give and take to each other. Some of them give water, the other one give them the fruits, the other one give them the humus. Likewise, they all are interacting with each other. Now when such an environment which is fully dependent on each other, we call it as an ecosystem. We call it as the environmental system, which is also called as the ecosystem. It means the complete environment is interdependent and interrelated like a system. Like what is a system? Suppose if you have a switch to the fan. If you on the switch, what will happen? The internal system will turn on and the result will be the fan. But if there is any wire connection, loose connection, or any breakage is there, will the fan work even after switching this switch and all? No. So it is like a system. Even if out of these four domains, if anything is disturbed, we can easily and immediately find out the effects also. Like global warming we are finding, vegetation cutting is there, temperature increase is there. These are all disturbance in the ecosystem, disturbance of the environmental system. So plants and animals, they are the part of biosphere, and biosphere is a part of the complete domains of the earth. And this biosphere is dependent upon the other three spheres, and even other three spheres are also adding to the biosphere. So there are various types of ecosystem also. As I told you, the complete earth, is it same in the climate, land and everything? No. We have variety. And all these variety of environment, they are called as ecosystem. Like let us take the example here which discussed coral reef. Now coral islands, Lakshadweep. Whatever we find on Lakshadweep, we may not find in other place. But then whatever you are finding in coral reefs or the coral islands, you will find it is all interrelated. Like another example, deserts. Deserts, what is the lithosphere? Sand. What is the biosphere over there? The kind of animal, camel and all, which will be bearing the heat as well as the water they are storing. If I deal with the climate, very hot, dry temperature. What about the hydrosphere? Very less. So do you think that these things are effective? Like it is similar. Because the temperature is high, so the vegetation is less. Because the temperature is high, water is less. Because the water is less, there is no vegetation cover. Likewise, they are all interdependent. Similarly, forest ecosystem is different. Human ecosystem, like in urban area we are dependent on each other, so we have made our system accordingly. Littorals and all like forested only, marine like oceans, prairies, grasslands, rainforests, savannas, grasslands you have studied, steppes, taiga, tundra, all these are actually the various types of grasslands and all. So we have variety of plants and animals, in other words, all over the world. Now here are few examples, like these are the variety of types of plants and animals we find. Plants, of course, we have tropical rainforest, we have grasslands, deserts, tundra. Now these are all different system. One system will not match with another. So one environment will not match with another. And that's why in order to see the polar bear, we have to go to the region where it is very snow covered. It won't be available in the deserts and all, right? So these are region specific because the regions are interdependent. So likewise, you have many ecosystems. Now biosphere, which we have studied. Biosphere is a sphere of life and it is fully dependent on the lithosphere, hydrosphere and the atmosphere. Let us begin with the word natural vegetation. It is a thing or it is a type of vegetation which grows on its own without any human interference. Now, if the human is not interfering, then we find the variety but everywhere. Tundra region different plants, deserts different plants, coastal region different plants. So why do we have the variety over there? Now variety why do we have? Because there are different ecosystems are there. Now natural vegetation is also of various types. We have forests, we have grasslands, and we have desertic shrubs and the scrubs. Like deserts, here both the deserts are considered, cold desert and the hot desert. So these are the naturally grown vegetations. We find forests are growing, grasslands are growing, then desertic vegetation is there, tundra vegetation is there. These are all naturally grown vegetation. Now growth of vegetation, it depends upon mainly on temperature and moisture. We know that any plant, in order to grow, it requires temperature and the moisture. Now how is the relation? So relation is here explained. Wherever the region is having very heavy rainfall, which type of plants will grow naturally? Huge trees. Generally they will be found in rainforest, that means evergreen forest. Wherever the rainfall reduces, you will find deciduous, like in Maharashtra and all, you have once in a year all the trees they shed their leaves because that is a dry season. You have some more. If the rainfall reduces more, less rainfall, you will find the grasslands are growing, the height of the trees will be reducing. If you have dry, totally dry desert with very less rainfall, we find thorny bushes, shrubs and scrubs. Why? Because these thorny trees only are able to survive in the deserts. And in the very cold region, we find tundra vegetation, which are also called as, that is tundra, and the polar vegetation also, like mosses and lichens they are growing. Now after that we will discuss with one of the main topic. Vegetation and wildlife, they are resources. Under resources we are studying, and what have we learnt about resources? Anything which will satisfy your need will be called as the resource. So let us discuss now how natural vegetation and wildlife is something which is very much needed for our life. So uses of forest. So we will go with the uses of vegetation first. Some uses are actually quoted over here, like forests are giving the shelter to the wildlife. They are having aesthetic recreation, tourist places are also there. Biodiversity conservation, it means like if you want to save your plants and animals, forests are the best places. They are used for making paper also, they are used for getting timber, hardwood. They are used for getting fodder, litter, compost, like the fertilizers and all, they are also made from the forest. Fuel wood, firewood which we say, and in medicinal plants. Medicinal plants are received by the forest, right, or they are given by the forest. Some more uses: provides oxygen which we breathe, protects soil, shelter belts. Shelter belts, it means like in the cyclonic region where the cyclones are coming, it means the ocean water enters into the cities. So what do? Near the ocean they plant mangrove trees. Because of that, what happens? Small waves whichever are there, like the high tide and sometime due to cyclone, whichever waves are coming, they are not able to bring the water inside the cities. So shelter belts also they are called as. Then maintains underground water level, like we know that the roots they hold the water, and because of that the water level is maintained. Moreover, they provide us with the fruits, nuts, latex. Latex, it means the foam, like the rubber which we use in the mattresses also. Turpentine oil and all, which is used for coloring, painting, gum, medicinal plants. So many uses are there. Moving to the use of the aquatic animals, not only aquatic animals but the wildlife. Now what does the wildlife include? Wildlife include all the animals, all the birds, they include insects, and they also include the marine life, that means the aquatic life. How are they useful? They are providing their hides, that is skin, the upper inner skin also. It is used for many purposes. They gives the leather. They provide us with the milk, meat, milk products also. Poultries are there which are in the big business. Silk, sericulture. Silkworms are reared on the mulberry trees and silk is taken out from them. Drought power such as the camel and all animals. Even in the biggest drought they will be able to give us or save you basically. They maintain the food chain. They are also having an important role in the environment. Like the smallest microorganism, it acts as a decomposer. From that decomposer to the biggest mammal, all are useful. Insects are acting also as the decomposers. Some more uses like we have, they like provide the same, most of them are here. Honey also, they help in the pollination of flowers. They also act as decomposers. We have heard about the birds. Now birds, they survive on the dead insects, animals and all, especially the vultures. So in the forested area, if any animal or anybody is dying, so their dead bodies are eaten by the vultures, and that way they act as the cleansers. They clean the forested region also. So you will study the extract from about the vultures in the textbook, and I will be giving you the questions on them. And they also maintain the ecosystem. Like vulture, as I was discussing, vulture, they are also called as scavengers, cleansers. You will get a case study that these vultures, they were declining in their number. Nobody was getting that why they are dying and all. After years of studies, 2 to 3 years of studies, they got the reason, and the reason was that in the forested area the medicines were given to the animals, like forest departments, forest doctors, they give the medicines to the animals, and that was one, there was one painkiller, diclofenac. Now this diclofenac medicine was not suitable for the vulture. So whichever animal was given the diclofenac, and if that animal dies, and if that body is eaten by the vulture, the vultures were dying. Of course, it was too indirect reason. It took time for them to find out, but finally they find out, and then they have removed the use of diclofenac and they have started using some other painkiller. So likewise, even the smallest vulture, even the smallest microorganisms, they all are having their important role in the wildlife. Now such is the biggest use of such natural vegetation and wildlife, and that's why it is called as the most valuable resource also. Now in this session we have just done about the natural vegetation, we have studied what is an ecosystem, we have studied what is biosphere, and we have also seen that how the natural vegetation and wildlife is a natural resource actually. In the next session of the geography, we will be moving to the conservation and the degradation actually regarding this particular resource. Thank you.